Yeah, and it has some pretty cool PS1 ROMs on it, and the graphics on the visuals on them are really, really nice in comparison to some of the stuff even today. It's so clean and crisp, and it's all hand drawn, and it's not like dodgy 3D made to look 2D or something. It's just, I was playing Hercules just to test it out, and also
the Disney one.
The Disney one.
Oh, that was a great game.
Yeah, it was excellent. And the Street Fighter games on there, they're just loads of great, well drawn games on much older devices that you don't tend to get so much today. They reminded me of, if you've played the latest Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, it's like hand drawn.
That's pretty good.
The visuals are excellent on it, but these games reminded me of that.
You know what it is? It's also the screen makes a huge difference. Somebody opened my eyes recently about this, but games back in the day, if you play them on present day screens, they don't look the same.
The resolution, because they're not designed for that high resolution display.
And also, the colors and shit, they were designed for old TVs, right? TVs that you would use at home. Like those old cabinet TVs or whatever. So some guy, I think, made a YouTube video to show this off. But if you actually play it on like how it's supposed to be played, it looks really, really good. Like if you have the console and you had the TV from that time, it looks really, really good. What's achievable. So I think those emulators might actually be calibrating for that. Making sure it looks.
I think they have have like visual filters and things like that for like to make it look like CRT or something like that.
Yeah, could be.
The better ones do anyway.
Yeah, and also the older devices like some Game Boy games, they would make the contrast really high so that because to compensate for the screen that you were watching it on.
Yeah,
exactly. So then when you actually emulate it, it's ridiculously bright, so you have to tone it down in some cases. But on the topic of favorite games, depends what era, I think, because I had quite a few consoles. I had Sega, Genesis,
show off.
PS1, Game Boy.
The original favorites, like your first experience with gaming, like favorite games then.
Which game popped your cherry?
Well, first experience with gaming was the Sega Genesis.
Wow.
So I had Spider-Man.
Wow.
I don't remember what game it was. Spider-Man something, and you played against Venom. And that was pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
And also, we had Lion King, we had Pink Panther, and I think they were all on Sega Genesis, but it was around that time anyway. To this day, I recently, even like over the last couple of days, have tried emulating some of those games from back then, and they still hold up. Like they're still fun to play. As a 28-year-old that's got an Xbox Series S. So
yeah, man. Those they sound like PlayStation 1 games, to be honest, because I remember playing those games on my friend's PlayStation. Maybe the Sega Genesis had them, I'm not sure, but I just remember like when you were listing them, I was like, hey, hold up, I played these, like that Spider-Man game that you mentioned, and where he fights Venom, and it's like a really like comical Venom, right? He's not like he like cracks jokes and shit. It's more like the
probably
I think it's
they probably were.
Yeah, the 90s TV show licensed game. That's probably what it was. Where your webs go, like they attach to just pure air above you.
I don't remember too many details about it. those are my earliest memories
Yeah.
gaming. And then when it was PS1, like Hercules, Abe's Odyssey.
Yeah.
Have you played Abe's Odyssey?
I don't think so.
Man, it's the creepiest.
I've heard of it. I know what it is.
PS1 game. It's one of the creepiest games I think I've ever played. The premise is, or at least the start of the game, you're working for some dystopian alien farming factory.
Oh my god, I keep missing the fucking ball. Yeah, sorry.
That turns different aliens into different foods or different snacks, and then you just find out that they're gonna make the next product that they're gonna make is your species, and then you have to like escape. It's really really creepy for like a child to play.
Yeah, there was a lot less filtering of stuff back in the day. I missed out a big player in those days when I was first starting playing computer games. Grand Theft Auto 3 was absolutely groundbreaking for us because we're like these little shits that, you know, were just getting into gaming, and that was sort of the first game that blew my mind.
Yeah.
And there was no filter. You could like kill pedestrians, get prostitutes, just have do you remember having to learn cheat codes by word of mouth?
Yes.
And writing them down.
Yeah.
And
or
collecting
read them
them.
in a magazine or something, and cut out the page and keep them.
Like that was wild. That was probably so when I first got my computer, which I think was when I was 9, and started playing games. That was the first game that I got from a friend of mine. It was an absolutely wild ride. I think I must have spent legit like months in that world when I was a kid, because there was nothing else. It was like Grand Theft Auto and then going to the internet cafes to play the other games.
Counter-Strike and stuff.
Yeah, for me, I was shit at Counter-Strike, so I played Warcraft. I mean, like the initial games, like Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Finally I hit the ball. I'm using a new car, so the bounding box is a bit unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But it's got
that big fat square one.
Yeah.
Merc.
It's got a cool decal, so that's why I have to use it.
Yeah,
Sounds
I think
like
that's
a
the main
whale.
reason you should use a car in this game.
Yeah.
The decals.
Yeah. Here we go.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, well, I'll say my first experience with gaming was actually playing, I think, Lego Island on a friend's computer.
Wow.
And I think it ran at maybe 1 frame a second,
Sorry.
approximately. So you imagine that it's like watching a slideshow.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you supposed to know where you're going? He's like, well, you're supposed to just anticipate it.
Yeah.
Like work out, like, see, there's a tunnel there, so I'm going to work out that in this amount of time I have to turn. I'm like, okay, wow, gaming seems like shit.
Wow.
And then later on, eventually, my first console was actually a Nintendo 64, so it was actually probably later on than that's after Super Nintendo and everything. Nintendo 64
The 3D one.
Lego Racers. Yeah,
Oh,
Lego
that was
Racers
a
and
good
Pokemon
game.
Stadium. That was really cool, and you could make your own car in it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, that was
really
awesome.
Fun. I spent ages doing that.
Yeah, same.
Just making cars and different bodies and things. That was really fun. So that was like my first experience gaming. And then, because I had Pokemon Stadium, I realised, I want the Game Boy game as well. So I actually got a Game Boy after that, and Pokemon Yellow. And that was probably the first game I properly really enjoyed, like Pokemon Yellow. That was like, spent hours on that, like catching Pokemon and raising them and, you know, going across different towns and stuff. So that was like the first really good game, but that's pretty like universally known. And mostly since then I was pretty much like a Nintendo fanboy. I just played Nintendo games and that was pretty much it. I didn't have a PlayStation or Dreamcast or Xbox or anything for ages.
Yeah.
So it was like Mario, Super Mario Brothers, Banjo-Kazooie was good. So nothing, probably nothing you played because it's all PC games.
Right.
Although
yeah, I remember playing Super Mario, but I think it was on a counterfeit N64 from like a dodgy part of town that my dad had got, and it had one or two cassettes that had like 600 games in them each.
Oh yeah, I know those things.
Yeah, and one of them was the one of the first Super Mario games. The one, I think the first one where you could do 2 players, like the very old ones. I love playing that. So yeah, I guess that's my first experience with gaming because I was much younger. But it wasn't that. It was nice. It was a memorable experience. But he juked you.
Bad.
But I think the most like I wasn't a gamer right at that time. I was just playing with my dad, and I think pretty much only when I was allowed, which was usually when my dad wanted to play.
Yeah.
And the same way with television, if I wanted to watch like Cartoon Network and shit, had to convince him to watch with me. But yeah, I think it was only when we got internet cafes and PCs that we started properly gaming.
All right. Yeah, I never had internet cafes. It was always gaming for me until I got a laptop.
Yeah.
It was like a solitary experience, mostly. Apart from playing with friends sometimes.
Well, that's why I enjoy it so much now, because for me, it started off as like things you do with your friends, and you play those games because your friends play those games.
Yeah, it's funny that like the brewski's open.
Brewski's out. Jeez.
That can be one of the thumbnails. In the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that like because in Cyprus we also had internet cafes. We still have internet cafes actually, and that was one of not my earliest, but the first time I'd ever seen that type of social gaming environment. Because up until that point, I'd only seen if you could somehow get a PS2, another controller for a PS2, and then if you wanted more than that, you'd have to have like this dodgy third-party thing that never worked. And so, yeah, the internet gaming, the internet cafe had Counter-Strike, and that's the only game that the Cypriots played when I was there.
It's
just
popular.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, that's really
it's funny that
Counter-Strike
in the